This is going to be a video for Bosso Smart Lighting customers on how to use the app. When you open it, this is what the screen will look like. Top right will be your main power. Below that will be your brightness. If you just need to change it quickly, to open the app, you just tap on the WLED. And starting with the first screen that it opens will be the color wheel on the bottom left there. Now, if you just want a solid color, quick change from standby orange when they turn on to, let's say, a pure white, that first dot, and you select a color, change it between those. That'll be just your solid plain color. I'm going to turn down the brightness a little bit, turn it up. Now, the bottom of this is going to be all your pre-made color packages. All these are mainly to do with the effects. When you click those, they won't change anything until you have an effect selected. So we're going to scroll back up and do custom colors. Now that's what those three dots are for. And if you'll notice, when I select multiple colors, it still doesn't change the lights yet. This is mainly to do, like I said, with the effects, unless you want one solid color, but we'll change those out real quickly. Now, if you notice, the first dot is green, and when you scroll down a little bit, it says color 1, and it matches. Color 2, red. Color 1 and 2, that's both of them. Colors 1, 2, and 3 will be labeled as colors only. They will all match the colors you have selected. Now, what these other dots have to do with is the effects. That's the second left on the bottom. Now, there's tons of effects. These are where you get all your movements, the chasing, the flashing, such as Chase 2, which flows around and changes in between colors that we have selected, because we have colors only selected right now. That bar is the speed. Now, if you turn it down, it'll slow way down. If you turn it way up, it'll go very quickly. The other bar is the intensity. When you turn it down, it's how the length of this specific one is. On the twinkling ones, such as Fairy Twinkle, it'll actually be how bright and how dim they twinkle. So that's just an example of a couple of the features. There's a lot of them. Now we have those colors selected, but if we select something like police, for example, it'll only flash red and blue, you'll notice. Some of these effects do have pre-coded colorways, so don't be alarmed if you select certain colors and it doesn't come out exactly how you'd expect. Some of them are that way, not all of them. Now, there is a ton of them. I won't go through all of them in this video, but you can play around with them and see all kinds of different effects. The next tab over is segments. This is how you get your custom light patterns, such as if you want one on one corner of the house, one on the peak, one on the next corner. You would do that by starting at light 0 always, going to, like, for example, light number 5 is where it would stop, and on the 5th light, it'll be off. Now, whatever you're doing on your colors and your effects, that's what the segment that you're selecting will do. There's multiple videos as well on YouTube about this. The first one you can leave alone until you make a new one. Then you would make a new one and then deselect segment 0 so you don't affect the full segment that is already there. So if you want to go back and do other things with the full amount of lights, you can leave that one there, just undo the check mark. I'm going to delete this one so it doesn't affect anything. Next section we're going to would be presets. This is where you get all of your pre-made packages that we have made that are very similar to Ghoulie, the previous controller that we had, as well as just lots of holiday ones. We're continually making them as well. Main thing to know is at the bottom, it says lights off and has number 12 next to it. They're all numbered, but it is alphabetical order. But those numbers is how you work the timer on this app. So you will need those numbers in the preset tab to work the timer. That'll be in the configuration, time and macros, and this is your timer. You'll want to make sure this section is filled out correctly with the correct year, date, and time for whatever time you're setting this up. And the time zone will be set to US Arizona. That is a very important part there. And when you scroll down, this is where your calendar is. For example, on the top, I have it set so at 5:30, 17:30, I have preset 5 coming on. That is an accent package. Below that, I have it set to 11 o'clock and preset 12. So at 11 o'clock, they will turn off. That is military time as well, so hour 22. What the other dots are for, you don't really need them unless you're doing multiple presets back to back in a somewhat of a light show, for example. That is how the timer works. Now the weird thing with accent packages and things like that, once you select one, for example accent 1, you'll notice only certain lights are lit up, and when you go back to change the color, it won't do anything other than on those specific lights that the accent package chose. It is a little bit of a quirk to the app, but there is a workaround since there is no off button for those presets. Even though you select other colors like I'm doing, it doesn't really change anything, even with an effect. The workaround for that is to go back to the presets. Let's see here, showing an example, only those lights will work. Go back to presets, Christmas 1, then go back to effects and press solid. This will set you back to square one where all the lights are on and they're on just a blank slate. That's when you can go back and change your colors again. Go back to your custom colors, whatever you had it on before, or select the different preset packages and go from there. That kind of puts you back to square one. You'll notice that all of them work now again. A little bit of a quirk, but it's a trade-off with this app. Now going back to the top, main power again. Timer, if you click this one, it'll just turn off in 60 minutes. Sync is for other Wi-Fi enabled lights such as yard lights, Christmas lights. Peek is the sneak peek. It'll actually bring up a bar that shows you what is going on outside of the house with the lights. It'll even show you when you have an effect on. It'll show what's moving, where at. Kind of a nice little tool. Let's see. And info, this gives you your Wi-Fi strength, good for diagnosing if you're having connectivity issues. Then configuration, this is where you get all your settings at again, same with the timer. Wi-Fi setup is good. If you get new Wi-Fi, this is how you connect to it again, is by putting in the Wi-Fi network and password and saving it. That is a general rundown on how to use the app.